What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Too Good for Theaters video. Today, we're going to be breaking down the Patriots' 146th overall selection, that being Bradyn Swinson out of LSU. So let's get right into it. So starting off here with Bradyn Swinson, he is your typical edge defender. He's going to be that off-ball linebacker, really converting to a pass rusher from LSU. And I would say he performed really well for LSU. I believe he had 9 sacks on the year. He had 60 pressures alone last season. So this is a guy who can get after the quarterback, and he's going to do it through his speed as well as with some finesse moves. But his acceleration off the line is very good. Probably very similar to a young Harold Landry, someone who's not going to necessarily win with power, but is going to beat you off the line and really use that speed rush capability to them to kind of work around you, get low, make you bend as an offensive tackle. And if you can't do that, then they're going to end up getting to the quarterback there. But he really showed the ability to shed blocks with quick hands in terms of the run game as well as through pass protection. If he's not beating you with the speed and not outflanking you, then he's doing a real nice job with his hands to not fully let these tackles to really get their full extension on him. So if he's able to continue to do that at the NFL level, then he's going to be very similar to Harold Landry. And of course, Harold Landry playing with Mike Vrabel. If someone knows how to use Harold Landry, it is Mike Vrabel and Terrell Williams. But back to Brandyn here, he also did a really nice job of making teams pay when they tried to block him with a tight end from his linebacker position or off tackle. And he really took advantage of teams trying to kind of block him with smaller defenders. And not only did he beat them with speed, but in those instances, he was able to use his power and really get to the quarterback. So that is not something that I would advise many NFL teams to do. However, I will say that there are probably going to be better blockers in this league. So maybe to start off, he is going to have to get a little stronger to match some of these tight ends. But like I said before, he's going to win mostly through his speed. And really his one big weakness, I would say, as a pass rusher is if they have those bigger body tackles who can slide their feet really well and kind of match his speed, then that's where he starts to get a little quote-unquote lazy and fatigued with his hand fighting. And that's really where he does struggle from a pass rush standpoint. And also, kind of finishing in some of his tackles, a lot of the scouts notice that he kind of leads with his helmet. So there is a good chance that he can potentially draw some flags there. And especially with how sensitive they are about quarterback hits these days, he is going to have to learn to really not lead with his helmet, or else he's going to have a ton of really roughing the passer calls go against him. And that is something that the Patriots really do not want to have whatsoever this season. Of course, Mike Vrabel really wanted to eliminate the undisciplined football that we have seen these past couple of years here in New England. And I also kind of wanted to take a little look into his combine numbers here. However, he only did 2 drills, which was his 3-cone drill, which he averaged around 7 and 13 seconds on, as well as his 20-yard shuttle, which was 4.33 seconds. So take that with what you will. Of course, I believe he's going to be more so a speed rusher, and that's really where he's going to earn his keep across the NFL. And having a guy like Harold Landry playing in front of you is someone you can really model your game after there if you are Bradyn Swinson here. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Brandyn is able to kind of work himself into this consistent pass rush role here in his rookie season here in New England. And of course, this is one of those picks that can certainly develop into a later point. Maybe even next year, he might be one of those kind of IR type players for his first year and come back when he's stronger and contribute to future Patriots seasons. I also wanted to go into Brandyn's college statistics here. In the 2024 campaign, he played in 13 games. He had an overall defensive grade of 83.3, a run defense grade of 69.6, a tackling grade of 64.8, a pass rush grade of 90.3, and a coverage grade of 65.4. He had 35 tackles on the year for around a missed tackle rate of 15%. Like to see that get a little lower. Like I said before, 60 pressures alone, 43 hurries, 8 QB hits, 9 sacks, and he forced 2 fumbles with that. So this is a guy who can also target the football. So that is certainly something that could be interesting if he is able to kind of be a turnover machine for this Patriots along this defensive line. Something that we really did miss last season with the departure of Matthew Judon. Not that he played that great in Atlanta, but back to Brandyn here. He was targeted 7 times in coverage and only allowed 3 receptions. However, that's not really much of a sample size. So I wouldn't necessarily trust Brandyn in coverage. I see him more so just strictly being a pass rusher here. and he was also penalized 1 time. And take a look by his snaps by alignment here. He only played in the box for 11 snaps, played in the slot for 15 snaps, and he played along the defensive line for 611 snaps here. And he was someone that you could really line up on either side of the offensive line here. So if you do seek a mismatch for one side, this isn't a guy who's strictly just going to be able to play on one side. He's going to be maneuverable along that defensive line. All right, everyone, that's going to wrap up this video here. Let me know your thoughts on Bradyn Swinson. And are you surprised that he actually dropped this far? I was a little surprised when I saw him available at this pick. And the Patriots, I do think, need a little bit more of edge help. So I'm really happy with the selection here. Of course, there was a number of other guys who kind of went earlier in the draft that I really liked, such as Josiah Stewart, as well as Princely Uman out of Ole Miss. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and hopefully I'll check you all out in the next one.